Welcome to a word of hope for the 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. My name is Father Brendan Curran, Dominican Promoter for Justice and Peace, North America. Today we hear in our second reading the letter of St. Paul to Timothy, reassuring he and the other Christians enduring death threats, incarceration. Proclaim the word, he says and writes. Be persistent, whether it is convenient or inconvenient. It makes me very mindful of the flag over my shoulder of the Ukrainian people and ministers of the church that continue to minister in the midst of a war. I'm also mindful in these last weeks of the tragedy unfolding in Myanmar, a country some of us knew better as Burma, where our Dominican family now has fled to the forests for their lives to join the people in the midst of their fleeing, in the midst of their peril, in the midst of the death threats. Some young people among them have been burned alive. Be persistent, whether convenient or inconvenient. Oh, how I wish to find a way to be as courageous as those people living these hours, living these days today. God grant that each and every one of us are renewed in the Spirit, mindful of our baptism, to be persistent of living and leaning on the hope of God that we are called to preach in difficult times, in inconvenient truths today. Let that be and become a word of hope, that we may lift up the voice and cry of the oppressed, of people in the midst of a war zone in desperation. The cry for all these generations past, where Christians have unceasingly held steady, held faithful to lift up the word of God, a word of hope for our world. Let that be that word, that message the world is thirsting for, not just in Ukraine, not just in the people of Myanmar, but right here in our midst today.